Good morning, everyone. This is Kara, and I come from the state of Florida. I pulled the disciplinary actions here in the state of Florida. I reviewed 30 different cases, and out of those cases, the largest and the number one was sexual misconduct by far. This included anything from texting inappropriate things to holding hands in the office with the client to sexual intercourse with the client. I was a little dismayed, disturbed, unsettled by all of the cases that have been filed. And I think it's a wake-up call for me not to be lax in any of these areas. Some of the common things that I saw was for the board to disciplinary actions was insurance fraud. That was another big one. Also, failure to pay student loans. The discipline was anything from revocation to suspension of your license to fines, and also voluntary surrender. I saw that happen a lot with the sexual misconduct, is they would voluntarily surrender their license. Sometimes counselors feel that the verdicts are unfair. I read a journal by Coy 2015, and in her paper she states that sometimes these counselors feel that the verdict is unfair. She points out, however, that these counselors represent an entire profession. So what they did doesn't only affect them personally, it affects all of the counseling community, and they need to be held accountable for that. A recent case that I pulled, it was just finalized September 9th of 2020, was a sexual misconduct case again, and it involved the counselor having sexual intercourse with his client. The Florida statute, Section 491.0111 states that sexual misconduct by any person licensed or certified under this chapter in the practice of his or her profession is prohibited. So it clearly states that what he did was wrong. Also, the ACA Code of Ethics states that sexual and or romantic relationships are prohibited. And that comes from Section A5A. So clearly, these actions are crossing all of the boundaries that a counselor is supposed to uphold. The board discipline was permanent revocation of his license for the counselor. What does the ACA Code of Ethics and your code states say about counselor impairment? So they say that we need to monitor ourselves and be aware of our own impairments and what's going on with us. And I think that that is a very good suggestion. However, I also think that their other suggestion that we be held accountable by other counselors is also very good, because sometimes the eye can't see itself, and so it's very good to have other people see what we are doing and to point out maybe if we're ethically or morally crossing even just a little boundary, that we need to pull back and we need to step back and take a second look at it. So I think it's good that we need to be aware of what other counselors also say to us. A question that comes to my mind, what can I do to safeguard against this? I guess being aware and constantly being vigilant about not crossing these ethical and moral boundaries. I saw and I read that many cases, it was from internships to counselors who'd been practicing for 30 years who had these failings. And so I think it's very good that we continue to work on our own personal rejuvenation and watch out for counselor impairment within ourselves so that these things don't happen.